Culto Macabro is a one-man band whose instigator is Melker. For those who don't know the name in the Portuguese underground, Melker was present in bands such as Firstborn Evil, Neftis, Dissolved, and is still present in bands such as Martello Negro, Neoplasma, and in projects such as The Rise of Ophiuchus. Having made these introductions, let's move on to Sacred Paganism. This is dynamic black metal, sung in Portuguese and with many interesting melodic notes and memorable moments. Some riffs insist on sticking in your head, like the main guitar riff of the title track. Fans of the black arts should check them out.
Colosso is one of the most interesting projects in extreme music, having taken on various incarnations over more than a decade. It currently has Max Tomei as its sole member, but he continues to bring us abrasive death metal, with ambient notes that make it unique. And that essentially doesn't change here, although Zero is a return to brute force. Something that can be seen above all in the vocal approach. Although it is short, it still has a huge impact on everyone who has been following the project's work.
A project that has gone somewhat unnoticed in the Portuguese underground, Velar. This duo consists of Pedro Tosher on drums, from Extreme Unction, Scum Liquor, and many others, and Nuno Zuki on guitars. Vocals and keys, from Concilium, Sepulchros, and many others. Funeral Doom is not the most explored style in the extreme music underground, so this was an excellent surprise, mainly because of its undeniable quality. What we appreciate most about the style is how memorable the atmospheres are when it's done well, and the atmosphere of this album, whose title translates from Portuguese to English as Angels Don't Watch Over the Dead, is something fantastic. Tenebrously fantastic.
New album is an interesting addiction from the start. The band emanates that blasphemous air of black metal with ambience and driving vocals, but then it has an appeal that justifies the mentions in the press release of names like Motorhead and Danzig. You might not think there's much of a connection, but after listening to their sound, it no longer seems unreasonable. In any case, whatever comparison you make, there's no denying the appeal this album has and how it could have a gothic appeal, just as Rotting Christ did at the end of the 90s. Undeniably one of the great albums of 2023, whatever the style.
Increasingly, it's refreshing that nowadays we have bands coming up that we know nothing about and have no information about. Refreshing as listeners, frustrating when you have the task of spreading the word. Let's talk about the music, which is what matters. Abyssus' debut album is Waves Before the Storm. The album is a heartfelt declaration of love for the death/doom of the early 90s, combining powerful production with a melancholic and sometimes dark ambience that perfectly matches the classic definition of the genre. The length of each track is relatively short, around 3 minutes, which also helps to increase the album's fluidity. An interesting revelation.
Primitive take on black metal, a tribute to the proposals that emerged in the underground and were based on the second wave of black metal. The production values are precarious, but this helps to create a very unique atmosphere. The way lo-fi is valued is far from an exact science and depends a lot on how each listener feels about it. In our case, everything that has a raison d'etre ends up being justified in that way, and it's not a question of a lack of quality or talent. Good riffs and a very unique atmosphere. It's not for everyone, but fans of primitive black metal will drink it in without getting sick of it.
The return of Yawning men who haven't been idle since their last original album in 2019 is a balm for anyone who missed their instrumental music. Long Walk of the Navajo is an album that comes across as particularly relaxing, although it has a more melancholic and even heavy ambience. It is said that the main inspiration behind these 3 long songs was a storm that hit the Joshua Tree Desert. The result is 3 long journeys that reach almost 40 minutes, and that serve to take us, as expected, out of our own bodies. A journey that continues to be fantastic and different from what the band has done before.
Wytch Hazel are one of those bands that can go unnoticed for a lifetime, but once you come across them, they're impossible to resist. That's exactly what happened to us with their fourth album, where their classic rock takes us by storm from the very first moment. And we can simply say that it's this classic and nostalgic factor that has the greatest impact, but it's much more than that. It's a sensitivity in writing great rock songs, where we even get a whiff of the hard and heavy, especially in the guitar harmonies with leads that are reminiscent of Thin Lizzy as well as Iron Maiden. What a fantastic piece of work, and how good it is to see timeless music like this appearing today.